good morning, good afternoon. A warm welcome to each and every one of you who have gathered here to be a part of RedTeam Security Summit 2021. In this session is on the topic Adversary Simulation 101 by Mr. Abhijith BR. He is the founder of DEFCON Adversary Village of Infra Security Operations and RedTeam. So without any further ado, I welcome Mr. Abhijith BR to the stage. Welcome, sir.
Yeah, thank you, Camilla. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Let me share my screen. I hope you guys can see my screen. Otherwise, just let me know. I will check my sharing settings here. Okay, that seems to be fine. Good afternoon, and welcome to my talk, Adversary Simulation on one. This is certainly not going to be very elaborate technical talk, but just a quick intro about adversary simulation, emulation, and related topics. Moving on to my intro slide. So I'm not going to elaborate further on, who am I, what I do, and other things. I just manage Adversary Village at DEFCON, and I'm kind of active in the information security community. So that's a two things. I recently started running a blog called tacticaladversary.io, and I also have more than a decade of experience in the information security and offensive security industry. So from an intro perspective, I think, that's it. Moving on to the next slide. So before we going forward, like I mentioned earlier, this is not going to be a well elaborated like technical talk. This is more into defined, what is what and how do we approach that, and how can we approach adversary simulation, emulation, because a ton of definitions are there. Many people are using it in the correct way, some the most intended way. Some people are not doing it in the accurate way. Like it happens all the time, like it happened with security assessment, vulnerability assessment, pen testing, and later times. So definitions, we still need to do this because we just need to make sure we are using the correct definitions, correct methodologies, and that is very, very important when it comes to whatever technologies that may be. I think you are familiar with Yoda. So the very, very basic item, the from the foundation vulnerability assessment. This is going to be the simplest definition. Like this is to identify, list down, and report the possible vulnerabilities or possible weakness that could be there in a target system. So no kind of exploitation is happening here. An attacker, a pen tester, or a security analyst, they would be trying to list down the and report it, give it back to the their management, stuff like that. So this is purely focused on identifying and listing down the possible vulnerabilities on a target system, infrastructure, or application. So very basic one. I just wanted to touch upon that. Second one, the penetration testing. Like we are all familiar with the term penetration testing. That is very, very focused. We are doing it against the target could be anything, like infrastructure, application, anything, but our scope would be much, much focused. Let's say we are performing penetration testing against a certain web application, much limited to that application only. The only difference from vulnerability assessment would be we'll be trying to identify and list down the vulnerabilities as well as trying to exploit it. Like what could be the outcome if we exploit a certain vulnerability? And along with the POC, like proof of concept, we'll be taking that to the management or our, the business owner, whatever it is. So like I mentioned earlier, these two terms kind of relative, but, bit distinct from the approach. See, before going to the adversary simulation part, we are hearing the term RedTeam for a while now. Like, we could see a lot of people are doing RedTeaming activities. The organizations are having like colored team upon their security infrastructure, right? we are hearing about red teams, blue teams, purple teams, many colored teams, right? So the very very basic explanation would be like a group of highly skilled and experienced people, technically advanced people, who would be trying to measure the effectiveness of your security implementation, the people, process, and related stuff. I have taken this explanation from redteams.net, which is a very very famous blog. Uh, and originally the term came from military practices. Let's say there are two teams. One is the blue team, which they will be holding or they will be protecting a fort, and the red team will be trying to gain access to that fort using certain tactics and procedures, right? So later, the same exercise they kind of adopted by the information security community. Like there was a time vulnerability assessment and pen testing that wasn't enough. We need more. We need to understand how an actual adversary would look into my organization. So the same method was adopted from the military, and that was put into use, right? This kind of like they are a very very focused set of people, a focused group, trying to not only they will not be doing pen testing or vulnerability assessment. They will be trying to process actual threats, actual adversaries who is trying to gain access into your infrastructure. So this kind of a meme, like many salespeople, they already also do that. They always do that. Something like our experienced red team, they'll be doing application security assessment for you, or they'll be doing vulnerability assessment for you. Such kind of sales jargon. That's kind of how do I put this? That's kind of meaningless, but at the same time, uh, they kind of they had a part in changing the actual meaning of this definition, which is a sad thing. Coming back to adversary simulation, which is our topic today, that is adversary simulation, right? Coming back to the same topic, so this awesome explanation, I got it from Rafael Murch from Cobalt Strike. So you could check that Cobalt Strike blog. There's a very very awesome blog post written by Rafael. So here we don't have which could segregate the difference between adversary simulation, emulation, purple teaming, kind of terms, right? Many people are using the word adversary simulation or emulation for the same thing. Maybe the term adversary emulation is being used for all kind of emulation/simulation activities. Some people are kind of selling these two services separately. Some client-facing companies. So it's all about how we approach these two activities, or how we put into use these two activities in our infrastructure or in our premises. So it's kind of like a simulation. Everything is kind of in a mixed manner, right? Most of the time, threat emulation or adversary emulation can be used in a same meaning. Maybe adversary simulation or threat emulation can be used in the same meaning. It's all about how we approach a certain term and what are the outcome, right? Maybe if you are doing adversary emulation and your goal is to achieve a certain set of outcome, right? Also, the same set of outcome can be achieved by adversary simulation activities. That doesn't matter. Sometimes, like I mentioned earlier, vulnerability assessment and pen testing. Sometimes some organizations are calling it like security assessment, and they're doing both. It's all about approach. It's all about how we do these activities, how we can uh, define or how we can create process, and how we are approaching these activities. So like Rafael says, we are working to describe an elephant to each other, right? The same thing, we're kind of explaining the same thing to other people. The other people are trying to explain the same thing to us. We are all talking about the same elephant in the room, right? Moving on to the next slide. So I really like this picture because we have created this art at the time of Cocoon conference in 2018. Just to traditionally define, like traditionally portray the red team versus blue team, the red team and blue team. based on our native martial art form called Kaladipaita. Like you're all familiar with this term, I think. See, I always used to compare the team adversary simulation activities similar to practicing a martial art, because that is very easy to convey that idea. Let's say you're going to learn Kalaripaito or maybe karate or any other martial art. On the very first day at dojo, you will not learn how to attack someone, or you will not learn how to defend yourself, right? Or you will not learn how to beat someone or how to block someone's punch. That is not going to happen. On the very first day, they'll be teaching you how to take a fall. Like, how can you take a fall without hurting yourself? Let's say someone is trying to punch you, someone try to push you. You need to take a fall, and you need to protect yourself at the same time, right? So that is the very first thing you will learn. Maybe after that, you will try to learn how to uh, make your body part stronger. Like you're using your knuckles to punch someone, you're trying to uh, trying to block someone's punch with an elbow or something like that. You will learn how to strengthen your body, like how to build muscles, how to make a strong body, stuff like that. Then on the next day, on maybe after some time, they will teach you how to apply some tactics. Like they will teach you how to punch someone, how to kick, how to do certain level of attack tactics, right? You will learn that one by one. Those are called TTPs. Those are called tactics. When it comes into offensive security, you learn uh, right. You learn how to kick someone. That is again a tactic. After some time, they will also teach you how to defend yourself. These are called as defense tactics. Like, what if someone is trying to punch you? You should do this. You should block it with your arm, open palm, stuff like that. After a few days, um, they will put you with a partner, and so that you can practice your tactics. The partner will use offensive tactics, and you can use defensive tactics to block that, prevent that, stuff like that. Then you will move into a complex scenarios, something called a set of tactics, a group of tactics, a chain of tactics, which is called in karate that is being called as katas, kat or kata. That means a group of tactics, right? When it comes to a team, like starting from recon, gaining access, stuff like that. Similar to that, a group of tactics is being called as kata in karate. Like when it comes into karate play too, that's being called as a set of chuvarts, right? Chuvat, right? A set of steps to attack someone. You will learn that. Then you can get into tournaments. Like someone from a martial artist from a different school will come into your place, and you can participate in a tournament. You can put into use what you have learned so far. They will do that. They will try to prevent that. They will try to attack that. Then eventually, maybe sometimes someone will try to bully you, or someone try to draw you into a street fight. You can defend yourself very well, right? I'm not dragging this so much, but if you are putting these terms into cybersecurity, I would say tactics. We know tactics, right? Each attack tactic is similar to our tactics, security tactics. Then defensive tactic is there. A group form, a kata in karate, right? So that kind of things are there. Here, adversary emulation can be defined as a set of well-known tactics used by a threat actor, right? So that can be defined as adversary simulation. So because you are practicing so much, you are doing adversary emulation and simulation so much, which is similar to a martial art. By the time you get into an actual attack, which is a tournament or a street fight, you can defend yourself very well, and you can take a fall if it is required. In most cases, you can defend yourself pretty well. That's the purpose of adversary emulation, simulation, and red teaming activities. You get to practice more. Adversary emulation will give you an opportunity to take work under live fire, right? Because you are practicing every day. By the time you reach into the the actual thing, actual threat actor, you can defend you very well. When it comes into purple teaming, two people from two different martial arts school trying to learn, trying to share what they have learned so far. Maybe I'll be better at attacking someone. They'll be better at defending someone. I'll be sharing my attack techniques, and stuff like that. So that can be compared to purple teaming. So moving on to the next slide, adversary emulation. This is a proper kind of definition. It's kind of mostly focus on mimicking the actions of a non-adversary, right? Let's say a wide variety of threat tactics are out there, APT series, right? Curated by MITRE. So, for example, Cobalt Group, which is a threat actor. So we are trying to emulate the actions of that threat actor into our organization, trying to understand how we can defend it, how the organization will react to that kind of activity. So, as a definition, if a non-adversary or threat actor, maybe we can do it in automated or manual manner. It helps our organization to deal with such kind of attacks or threat tactics. Let's say there is a term called threat informed defense. That means there's a new attack vector, there's a new threat actor. You have threat intelligence teams. So threat intelligence team, they are kind of based on their analytics, they are mentioning that we could expect the attack from a certain threat actor which is out there. So we can create emulation plans for that certain threat actor, maybe cozy beer, like anything, like anything. And we can recreate the actual tactics, actual steps performed by that threat actor, and we can put that into our organization. Then we can analyze how our organization is responding to that well-known threat actor, because we are doing it in a controlled environment, like how our antivirus, EDR, our privilege manager, our DLP, web proxies, our SOC, how these tooling systems are responding to that certain APT, that certain threat actor, right? And we can try to build our defenses based on the findings exercise. And by the time the threat actor reach our organization and they are actually trying to exploit our organization, so we get to defend very well, because we have already performed the same emulation exercise, and we have identified the gaps in our security systems, the tooling capabilities and people and process, and we have taken care of certain steps. By the time that the threat actor or non-adversary is targeting our organization, we get to defend very well, just like the martial art. And simulation, like I mentioned earlier, adversary emulation or simulation, people are kind of using the same term for same purpose. Maybe it could be different set of activities. Again, there is no well-defined terms, well-defined definition for these two items, but maybe with a slight difference. So we mentioned for adversary emulation, we are trying to mimic the actions of well-known adversaries or well-known threat group or well-known threat actors. But when it comes into simulation, that could be known or unknown adversary. That could be a very well-known or unknown threat actor. We would be simulating the activities, right? Or also we could come up with our own tactics, our own out-of-the-box tactics, and incorporate that into our simulation plan. And we could just give the SOC, the blue team, the defending team a surprise, like how they would react to these kind of attacks, right? How they would respond, how would is their instant response policy, how is their backup plan, stuff like that. The outcome is also the same, but that could be a known or unknown threat actor. See, the core difference with red teaming, that would be a powerful red team, an experienced red team. They'll be trying to possess an actual threat. They have a goal. They are not working together with SOC, or they are not working together with the blue team at the time they are doing an engagement. They'll try to attack. They'll try to strike the organization as similar to the actual adversary, actual threat actor. They're kind of what could I say? They are expandable, right? They could come up with new exploit. They could come up with new attack vector during the assessment, and they will uh, conclude the result, conclude the set of items which can be used against that certain organization. That is very very focused activity, but simulation and emulation, that's kind of different from their teaming operations, because many organizations are now moving towards emulation, simulation, and purple teaming rather than a full scope red team engagement. Many things are there. Many reasons. People wise, they can also include their defending teams, like cyber defense team, into action when they do emulation or simulation. Many things are there. So APT emulation, like we mentioned earlier, like adversary emulation, APT emulation, like Mitra is providing a wide variety of APT emulation plan. So we could we could create emulation plans for certain APTs and try to understand how our organization is responding to that. Because now we know, like most of the organizations, they are investing a hell lot of money, hell lot of budget for procuring cyber defense tooling, antivirus. Because before 10 years there was only antivirus. Now it is like EDR products are there, XDR is there, MTR is there, and DLP products are there, EPM products are there, web proxies are there, then different monitoring tools are there. So we also get to validate the efficacy of our tooling, because a pen testing activity or a vulnerability assessment activity that is so focused that they would try to identify and exploit vulnerabilities, but they will not. That activity will not provide us a way to measure, right? So if you want to, let's say you have an end user laptop with all these security mechanisms, EDR, DLP, disk encryption, web proxy, stuff like that. A pen testing will not give you a measurement of the security of that certain laptop. You may need to perform emulation or simulation activities or an actual red team engagement to understand how these defensive tools are performing, right? So that is one of the significant goals of performing simulation and emulation activities. So here, just an example of APT emulation, and MITRE is set of plans for adversary emulation. You can just visit them. You can refer them, like how you can create a certain C2 infrastructure to process a certain threat actor, right? See, blue team, like this is just a pictorial representation. Like this is not what it looks like. I was just trying to be funny, but I don't know whether it's funny or not. You get to decide that. Blue team, technically, I have read in many places that actually the offensive security team, they are working for the blue teams, because they are the blue team, the defender guys. They are there to protect the new tactics and attack vectors created, built by the offensive teams. They're actually being shared by the blue teams, shared with the blue teams, so that they can create, new defensive plans, to come up with new plans to defend and respond to certain level of threats. Right? This is very very important, and you need to be in a good relation. If you belong to an offensive team, you need to be in a good relation with your blue team. uh, each exercise has a certain process or certain policy how you would be working together with a blue team. Some cases you would not be working together with the blue team. In the end meeting, you will be sharing the result with the blue team. In sometimes, like purple teaming exercises, you need to be closely working together with blue team, to share the findings, to understand their tactics, and we'll explain much about that in purple teaming. Like it is getting a good traction nowadays. Many organizations are moving towards purple teaming, right? Because it is efficient, and it would give you awesome result. You can also you don't need to hire an like a powerful red team or a vendor to perform red team exercises in your organization. You can put your internal offensive security this together to a purple team exercise, because they get to usually before, like a couple of years ago, maybe a couple of years ago, there wasn't a good symphony between blue teams and red teams. The red teams are they won't usually share their findings and tactics to the blue teams. The blue teams will not tell them like what are the defensive rules, policies, use cases created by them to catch the offensive activities. But nowadays the things are changing in a rapid manner. The red teams are continuously sharing their findings to the blue teams. Blue teams are telling them these are the use cases and rules which we had created for such the bad guys. So that symphony, that working together with both defender and offensive team, that is kind of critical. That is essential for an organization to attain a certain level of security maturity, right? So earlier, like in the martial art, I have mentioned you like one guy from a different martial art dojo or school teaming up with a different guy from a different organization with different set of skills, and they're trying to share their techniques and tactics. Maybe one guy is very much into he's good in attack tactics. The other guy is experienced in throwing techniques or maybe defensive techniques. So they could share their techniques together, and both of them could learn more things and strengthen themselves. So that works in a very, very good manner. So this is one of the famous quote from Joe West, the explanation of RedTeam. This is all about assess uh, the processes, people, techniques uh, against the real world tactics to understand how effectively they perform to a certain attack, right? But if you are based on this explanation, based on this definition, if you are continuously performing emulation or simulation activities in your organization, trying to improve the effectiveness of the defense tools, people, and process, eventually by the time an actual adversary, an actual threat actor targets your organization, you can defend very well. You don't have to break a fall, but you can defend very well. So that's the whole purpose of performing attack simulation, emulation activities. That's being called in different set of names, as I have mentioned earlier. Threat emulation, breach and attack simulation, ransomware emulation, stuff like that. Different set of definitions are there. People are approaching these definitions in a different set of manners, but the end result that is always the same, because we are trying to improve the efficacy of the people, process, and technology within our organization, measure the capability and strengthen them. So that's the actual goal here. It's a usual stuff done by our team, but on the other side, when it comes into simulation, we could try to manually simulate these activities, because emulation, we are trying to emulate the activities of well-known actor. Here we can manually set up our own attack adversary profile, and we can create our own attack tactics and put that into use, just to pose yourself as a threat actor or a red team. So these are a couple of methodologies. Like a mitre attack, there is a biggest and widely used methodology. All the attack tactics are mentioned here. So this is efficient when you have to share the finding with the defending team. Like you don't just need to tell them like, oh, this is the attack, like these are the steps. No, but you can just share the tactic name and the type of the tools and other techniques which you have used. So that will be mitre tactic will make it easier for you to categorize, classify, and list down the attacks you perform, and that is very much helpful to both red and blue. And another famous one, cyber kill chain, created by Lockheed Martin. So you can also use these for your exercises and other approaches. So this on example infrastructure, a team or adversary simulation, manual infrastructure, which I had used for one of my earlier engagement as well as a couple of talks. Here, this is not emulation. When it comes to emulation, you can just focus on a certain attacker or threat actor. Here, just we are trying to create a mixture of activities. Like we have a victim here. We have a couple of C2 infrastructure behind redirectors and couple of domains, and a payload delivery service called Pound Drop. And the attacker, they will be accessing the C2 from the backend. They will not be using redirectors and stuff. Here, the point is something like this, like something to simulate the activities of an attacker. You could just try to drop that payload into your end user laptops, trying to understand how the AV or EDR is trying to respond with that certain payload. Or you could just try to create an exclusion for your payload and try to check the other defenses, like if the payload is able to access the C2 server from the user laptop, or the phishing email actually lands in the user inbox bypassing the email security systems, or if the enterprise laptop is able to stuff like that. So everything can be every activity can be listed down, and in the end these findings can be shared with the defending team, so that they could come up with remediation, so they could come up with rules and use cases so that they can strengthen the security. So also the actual red team infrastructure, that would be little more complex and bigger compared to this infrastructure. We would be using multiple domains, which expert domains with good reputation, so that would it could bypass like web proxies and other email security systems. Then a paid version of any other paid or commercial version of C2s, maybe a long time C2, a short time C2, a couple of redirectors for each segment. It would be very very complex compared to domain friending can be added many because let's say before setting up the infrastructure, we would be performing a recon against the organization to understand what are the different set of technologies used in that organization. They are very much into Azure or AWS. We can also use AWS or Azure environment to host a C2, because their internal systems will think, or they may treat the outbound traffic to the C2 as a legitimate traffic. Just showing you this as an example, how you could come up with a RedTeam infrastructure, and many, many complex scenarios can be found in this URL, blueskinofjeff.com. So this is just a modified version of a diagram which I got from blueskinofjeff.com. Actually, I forgot to remove this slide because just an example of physical security assessment. So nowadays people are kind of trying to include the physical assessment also in simulation and emulation activities. The simulation group could get into your organization and place a rock device somewhere, and the blue team or defenders need to identify where is this traffic coming from, which device is that, and they need to lock down and remove that device, both logically and physically, right? So here, like I used to ask people, like, could you identify the rock device mapped in this device? This is actually a TV which has been placed in an office. So could you identify what is the rock device which has been attached behind this certain TV, like digital TV or something? Most of the people, they told me, like, these are the devices, or that could be the device, that big thing with a blue wire. But the truth, there is no rock device attached. You could not differentiate between the actual hardware components and rock components. You also suspect that there could be rock component, but actually there is no rock component. My point is, it is very hard to physically identify a rock device most of the time. I'm preparing a talk right now, based on performing this such kind of simulation activities. Maybe I'll be sharing that information in the future. And again, for let's say to create a plan, to create a strategic plan, you need to split that into a certain tactical plans. Maybe to come up with if you have a goal for 1 year, to assess a certain set of defensive tooling capabilities. You can create device on strategy plan, and you can divide that into certain tactical plan. Maybe one tactical plan may take a couple of weeks to months to assess a certain security product or certain security procedure or people. So you could just create a couple of tactical plans to form on strategy plan to achieve a certain goal. So that's it. This is just for the management folks, like, because if you are doing emulation, simulation, puppet team, red teaming, whatever it is, the management needs to be aware of your activities and progress, right? So this kind of technique is there to provide proper tactical plans and progress to the management folks. And for the team, many folks are kind of I used to get a lot of queries with how to get started in the teaming and technical wise, management wise, and so the very first beginning would be this awesome book created by Joe West and James, the team development and operations. All the things which you need to know to get started with offensive, that is mentioned in this book. Many other awesome books are there, but I'm very much I do like this book and how Joe is crafting. Joe has crafted certain explanations and every other aspect of teaming in there. So you will just use that. And one more resource is there where to get started with adversary emulation. So MITRE Ingenuity, they have a couple of courses in there called as MAD. Also, they have a hell lot of open source and freely available resources, starting with this adversary emulation fundamentals. They have a free course, as well as adversary emulation plans. You could just visit their GitHub repository. You could use their emulation plan. There is totally explained and stuff like that. You could just start with simple emulation plans. Once you are done with simple emulation plan, you could come up with a new simulation plan with a custom manual, a mixture of attack tactics, a custom simulation infrastructure, and you can put that into use, right? And yeah, I got 5 more minutes. That's it. This is for the Q&A. You can reach me on Discord, or you can reach me on the conference platform, or you can reach me on Twitter, or you can reach me on Adversary Village Discord channel. Please feel free to reach out to me if you have any questions, because so the stuff I learned, if I have learned anything, many people, they have shared their experiences. They have helped me to understand many things, right? So the thing about security community is to learn and share what you have learned. If many great mentors, they haven't shared anything, I would not have learned anything about offensive security or any other technology for that matter. So always feel free to reach out to me if you have any questions. If I am having knowledge about that question, then I am happy to share my opinion. Otherwise, just give me some time to do some research, and I will come back to you with an answer. And thank you for this opportunity, for inviting me. And it has been going good so far. And take care, everyone. Please feel free to shoot your questions. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. That was a wonderful session. Even the analogy where you used martial arts such as colorified with such a complex topics like red team and blue team was simply superb, and our audience would have really enjoyed and understood each and every single topic that you presented. Thank you so much for such a wonderful session. Now we can move on to the question answer session. So there is one question in the question answer.
Yeah, that is a wonderful question. So red teaming, they always have a good future, because to get better at puppet teaming, you need new attack vectors, new attack tactics. So if we are only concentrating on well-known attack tactics, then share that with blue teams do puppet teaming exercise. How do you come up with new attack tactics, new attack vector? The red team, the experienced red teams, they always come up with new attack tactics, new attack techniques, so that can be listed down. We can create defenses for that certain attack tactics and put that into use, right? So the teams, they will always have a great future, because they're trying to break things and come up with new findings. I hope I answered that question.
If anybody have any other questions, you can post it in the Q&A, which you can see on the right hand side of your screen. Okay, there is another question.
I have seen, I think you are familiar with RTFM. Similar to that, I have seen, Blue Team, BTFM books, and many folks are like, you could just refer MITRE Ingenuity MAD website. They are providing awesome content on blue teaming, like, how to defend each tactics, stuff like that. Because nowadays everything is mapped to MITRE attack tactics. Like both blue teams and red teams are leveraging that, right? So that would be a very good approach. See, the goals of performing and internal assessment, like internal people are doing assessment or an external vendor, that is always different. Like many aspects are there, like compliance, policy, and result, right? So it always matter what is our end goal. Why are we trying to do this? Like if our like if our internal team is doing it or vendor is doing it, both comes with a different set of result. At the external set of eyes to look at our security defenses, right? So that is the very first thing. Then the policy, compliance, those kind of things comes in later.
If you have any other sessions, you can post. There is another 3 minutes left before the session will end. If you have any other questions, audience. Okay, so I think that's the end of the Q&A session. So
Camila, I think you're on mute.
okay, thank you so much, sir, for your willingness to participate and to take part in such a wonderful summit like RedTeam Security Summit and give your knowledge, share your knowledge with the people in such a beautiful manner. Thank you so much once again, and we would love to collaborate with you in the future as well. So thank you so much, sir. Have a great day.
Yeah, thank you, Camila. Thanks,
Thank
everyone.
you.
Take care.
Thank you.
Bye-bye. Happy
Thank you,
holidays.
sir. Take care. Hello, everyone. So we have a feedback session going on. So if you have any suggestions or if you have anything to say to us, you can go to that session and participate. And if you raise your hand, there is handouts. So if you raise that, then you can come live and communicate with us. So do make use of this opportunity. If you have any suggestions, then do take part in that session. Thank you so much, everyone, once again. And thank you to our community partners, supporting partners, tech partners, and media partners. Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you for your valuable time. Thank you.